Quick question. What if the games you play for fun are secretly training you for work and life? Think about it. Football is a game of territory and power. Video games train strategy and systems thinking. Dungeons and Dragons teaches teamwork, leadership, and problem solving. Maybe some creativity also. Today on Friday Fun and Games, I'm breaking down what games really teach us about workplaces, leadership, and decision making, and why the way you play might explain how you show up at work. Grab your tea, tell me your favorite game in the chat, and let's get into it. Nope, too hot, still too hot. I just came from downstairs, got that fresh hot water for my tea. It's still too hot. Of course, I'm Ian Hopfe. This is my podcast, Ian the HR Pro Live podcast, where I'm dangerously unscripted. I do have outlines now, so that's better. Throughout the show, if you have questions, ask them in the comments. I will answer them. Friday Fun and Games, basically we'll talk about anything, but if you got an HR question, Indigenous relations, small business marketing, a career question, because you're on the job hunt, go ahead, ask it. We'll talk about it. That's fine. Totally fine. I don't know what you need today, but maybe I can still help you. Where am I going? My show notes are all crazy here all of a sudden. So, of course, I was not live yesterday, and I was not live on Tuesday either. I was live on Wednesday and Monday, but this week I started my new contract facilitating for a HR consulting company. They do specifically training and HR related stuff, but they're geared towards Indigenous organizations. So they wanted an Indigenous person to do some facilitating. So I did. And I will continue. Hopefully I did all right. So yeah, could be exciting. It could be a nice long-term relationship. Yay, 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 yay. Anyway, I want to continue talking a little bit. Last week we talked a little bit about football, and that's topic number one today. Football strategy equals workplace power moves. So we have, territory, number of downs, momentum of the game, and this equals resources, time management, and leverage in the workplace, right? These are the many tools that you have when you're thinking about football in the workplace. A lot of times in our business, we find ourselves stuck at our own 10-yard line, and we're in defense mode. We're just trying to keep the other guy from scoring on us, right? And that's so hard. I see a lot of small businesses, they're struggling. They're trying to just stay afloat as opposed to being able to do those power moves that make you grow, that creates revenue that will allow you to grow, right? That front end money that any business really needs. Now we know there's that there's that version of business where you get all kinds of investor money and then you use that to build a business, and then the point is within a very short time, 5 years or less, you've built the business, and then you go public, and or you just sell the business, and then when it sells or goes public, you get all that money and you pay off your investors and you keep the rest, right? We know that's one way of doing business, but I think for most of us with 150,000 small businesses in Alberta. Most of us are single operator, mom and pop corner stores, small retail stores, right? Like maybe some service businesses in there, like lawn care and things like that. We're just these small operations. Our goal isn't to scale. Our goal isn't to create the capitalist dream where we keep growing and making more and more money. Most of us just want a business that will create a job for us and give us enough money to have a good life as our own boss, right? So it's really hard to go from owner operator to just owner. And if you've been in your business for a long time and you can't get out of your business so that you're just the owner, so that you could retire early or retire at all, right? That's kind of the window I'm thinking about, right? Did we start a business just to create a job for us, or did we start a business so you could be the owner and get that free time, get that it's not necessarily what's that called when you get money and you don't do anything? Oh my god. The word I'm looking for, indirect money. Oh shoot, the word's gone. It's totally gone. Anyway, the idea is it would be nice if we could start a business, run it ourselves for a little bit, but find out how to grow it so that we can become just the owner as opposed to the operator / CEO. We just want to be owner / president of the board. We don't actually want to be in the business, right? And that's kind of, I think that's kind of where most small businesses want to be. You want to be in a place where you don't exactly want to be there. Maybe you want to do something else with your life, but you're making passive income. That's the money. That's the word I'm looking for. Passive income. We don't always get to enjoy passive income unless we get to a point where we can really let go of the business, right? So if your business structure is that you have to be there all the time and you don't make enough revenue to pay yourself, well, you're never going to be able to hire someone to replace you in the business. You have to be making enough money to pay yourself and get a savings on the business, right? Because once you get it to a point where you can pay yourself, you can stop working in the business and just make that little bit of passive income, right? So when you're thinking about football and trying to get out of that defensive mode, get back into offensive mode, right? The offense equals growth work, right? The things you need to do to grow your business. Defense equals maintenance work, the things you do just to stay alive, right? We need to get past that stay alive moment so that we can get to the growth moment. And I know, small business, you're not looking to become a millionaire overnight or expand to, 500 locations in the next 10 years or something like that. That's probably not your goal. So, but you still need some offense to get you to a point that really matters, gives you some money. So basically you need both, but you got to find ways that your defensive maintenance work can shrink or be put aside enough that you can do that growth work. And that could, that's different for every business. My business right now, my small business, I'm creating content and I'm getting to know people, and I'm hoping that they say, hey, Ian, I know him, I've seen his stuff, I trust him, maybe I'll hire him to do some of my HR work or whatever, right? I'm trying to hire my first employee. Let's sit down and have a meeting with Ian first so that I'm doing it the right way, right? That's the stuff I want to do, and I got to do that by giving value, making the content, things like that. I'm not some big agency where I'm trying to get you to pay for, $100,000 marketing plan or anything like that, right? Woo! Senora. Sorry. Let's see if we can get some more of this tea in me. Nope, not yet. Still hot. So yeah, thinking about football. What are you doing in your business, your small business, that is defense work? How do we get you doing the offense work? Think about that. Anyway, topic 2, I want to talk about how games train your brain. I've recently spoke about how I love playing Zelda, and it kept me out of trouble. Basically, we're solving puzzles. Then I went to Civilization. Here as an adult, I've been playing it for a long time. It took me a long time to realize how to play that game. There's a lot of different levels of strategy and understanding those things. And of course, when I was a preteen and teenager, I just love SimCity. Oh my god. Used to play that all weekend. It helped keep me out of trouble, just like Zelda did. But it also taught me kind of infrastructure. I have to build this infrastructure to create this neighborhood. And then I let it play. And then people start moving in. And they tell me what's wrong. Oh, I didn't put power to the neighborhood. I didn't put water to the neighborhood. These people, they're living here, but they don't have jobs. Oh my God. So I got to create industry, or I got to create, what's the word I'm looking for? Commercial space, right? So that these people that are living in the neighborhood have some place to go work. I think there's something itching my neck in this shirt. Anyway, so these games, and the game I've just started playing now, and of course I don't get a lot of time to play it, usually like Friday night or Saturday afternoon or something like that. Actually, you know what, sometimes it tends to be Sunday afternoon. I'm trying to relax. Anyway, Stellaris. It is a cross. Well, I don't want to say it's a cross. It is basically the old Master of Orion game. Master of Orion 2 was the bomb. Master of Orion 3 tried to become more. And if Master of Orion 3 was an online game or a downloadable content game like Stellaris, then upgrades, because I guess Stellaris wasn't that awesome when it first started, and they've just been constantly improving the game. It's been out since I think 2016 or something like that, but they have all these downloadable contents, and they also have been improving the game flow, the game engine, and all this stuff, right? So they've had 10 years of building this game, whereas the original Master of Orion 3, they built it and that's what you purchased, right? Was at a time when downloadable content wasn't a thing, right? This was the early 2000s, and the thought of downloading a game hundreds of megabytes or hundreds of gigabytes even now, right? It's unfathomable. Ooh, man, dial up. Take you 16 years to download that. By the time you finish downloading it, the next generation games and the higher speed internet comes into play, right? But these games, they're not just passive entertainment, right? They're decision-making repetitions. I need to do this, but in order to do that, I need to do that. And then once I've done this, I need to move up and do this. Something happens. I need to stop doing that so I can prepare for this other thing, right? It really helps you make quick decisions, changing up the game. And with Stellaris, it's a space game. You're building colonies, creating new worlds for your race, and exploring the galaxy, developing the new space age technology that's going to help your colonies grow, get you faster, bigger ships, bigger, deadlier weapons, all that stuff. And help you become a member of the wider galactic family of sentient beings, right? Like all the technology you need to do all that great stuff. It's almost cool enough. When you think of a big game like this with all kinds of levels, you're trying to expand your galaxy, you're communicating with these other races, you're trying to develop these planets, you're trying to design new spaceships, you're choosing the right leaders to lead your planets and your ships and your research and your research ships, right? Like there's so many levels, and it becomes you're practicing skills like systems thinking, risk management, what else? Long-term planning, pattern recognition, right? You start seeing the things you need to do and how you need to do it the more you play the game. And I just love that. I mean, like, yeah, I'm playing a game to have fun, but really I'm not. I'm having fun, but it's a learning experience also. It's a mind exercise, right? I need some wet in my throat, and this is not working. Oh my God. So, if you're watching, put this in the chat. What game taught you to think ahead, right? If you had a really great game growing up, or maybe you're playing one right now, put the title of that game. Maybe we'll talk about it next week in the chat. If you're watching this after the fact, go ahead, do it anyway too. You don't have to be watching this live to participate. Yawn again. Woo! Friday. I just want to get work done, and I just want to stop doing work, right? But let's see what's next. Really need some of that tea. That dry Alberta air in the middle of the winter, it's like winter desert here in Alberta. I mean, well, Alberta's not dry. We got rivers, we got lakes, we got mountains and glaciers, and half the province is covered in forest. It's not exactly arid. Southern Alberta is more arid, almost desert-like in some places in southern Alberta, but northern Alberta is definitely a nicer climate, except for winter, right? We got I don't know, almost a foot of snow right now over the last couple weeks. It's come down, and it is dry because the the wet air, the moist air from the Pacific Ocean goes across BC. We've got the coastal mountains, and then you have the Rocky Mountains, and then you have Alberta. So as the weather moves across, it goes up, right? It goes up into the Rockies. It forms clouds, and then it snows and rains on the Rockies. And then when that air finally comes down off the Rockies into Alberta, it's dry. It's dry. We've lost all the moisture. So there's places that have more rain than us, that's for sure. But we do have ample rivers. Anyway, that's winter in Alberta. Topic 3. Let's talk. This is a new topic. I want to see if it works. What your game style reveals about your conflict style. So how you play your games. Whether it's board game, video games, whatever it is. I mean, that might be your conflict style. What's the big thing I'm thinking about? Monopoly. We've all had that family-friendly game of Monopoly where just someone just freaks right out, right? Because nobody's doing their deals, and they really want to win the game, and feelings are hurt. And this isn't just the young kids or the teenagers you're playing with, right, that are getting mad. It's adults getting mad at the game. Monopoly is kind of really kind of a dark game, the way it's played. Anyway, so your conflict style based on how you're playing the game. Cooperative players versus competitive players versus chaotic players, right? You're trying to win the game, but do you help other players and hope they'll help you, and then one of you wins the game, right? Ooh. The typical competitive players, it's all for you, and you've got a strategy, and you're not purposely trying to hurt other players, but you're also not helping them, right? And then you have the chaotic players that are just random this, random that. Sometimes they'll attack you, sometimes they'll help you. They're just all over the place, just creating this chaos in the game, thinking if they can throw you off in some way, shape, or form, then they have a better chance of winning the game, right? And that's plausible. That's plausible too, right? At work, this shows up as collaborators. These are the co-op mindset players, right? They think, let's work together, let's make this game work. Well, maybe that's how they operate at work also. They want to network, create friendships at work that will help them improve the organization or improve the work process, the systems, whatever, right? Like they're really trying to better the place by connecting with everyone else. Scorekeepers, right? These are the competitive mindset people. They are constantly just trying to be the best, do the best, outshine everyone else. They're not, like I said, they're not purposely trying to hurt you, but they are doing everything to stay ahead and remind everyone that they're better than everyone. I mean, some of your rock stars in your organizations might come off as these scorekeepers because they're just like, let's keep doing it. Let's keep doing it. Oh, I got another number up on the board, another number up on the board, right? Like they're really, they're driven by seeing the score go up. And then you got your wild cards. You might also call these maybe the lone wolves, but the chaos first mindset. These people, you don't know what they're doing from minute to minute. They're trying to be the best, but at the same time they're willing to do the dirty stuff. So they're not always cooperative. They may be secretive. They may be trying to hide their score because maybe they're not that good. Maybe they're the lazy employees, right? And they're just trying to stay under the radar. But they're using the cover of their chaos to stay under the radar. So, in the comments, man, pick one of these. Are you a co-op player? Are you a competitive player? Or are you a chaotic player? And we can talk about that. I know. And sometimes I always try to be with games. I think I might be a cross between the collaborator and the scorekeeper. Yeah, I want to win, and I've got a strategy, but at the same time, I feel bad when someone is losing, and I'm willing to do a little bit of table talk and say, "Oh, do you mind? I see that if you do this, this, and this, you'll be able to get some extra points this round." Right? I'm willing to help people like that. But I think I'm really hoping for some reciprocation and some feedback on my play the next round, right? So I can also get some extra points. As much as I pretend that I'm that scorekeeper at the end of the game, I'm like, in your faces, everyone. 10 million to none, you bunch of losers. Yeah, I'm the winner. I really don't do that. I kind of become more introspective, thinking, oh, what's a better strategy I could do next game, right? I start thinking about the strategy again. So which kind of player are you? You're co-op, competitive, chaotic? Might depend on the games you play too. And how you play it, right? So I know in the game Stellaris, I'm trying to play my game, but I need to be perceived as strong enough that other races won't attack me. So, but then I got to build up my military so big. It also looks like I might attack them, right? Like this brinkmanship that we talk about with building of arms on both sides. So you got to find that balance. And I'm trying to be logical and methodical, whereas I've seen people just doing just crazy stuff, just whatever, to trying everything, even though they haven't built a strategy behind it or whatever. So chaotic people scare me. Oh my god. Anyway, we're kind of moving along quick today, and that is fine, because if I can find some time to do a little bit of work this afternoon, that's always great. So new topic number 4 for this show. I'm going to talk about what I'm calling tilt management. Basically what games teach us about emotional control. By tilt management, obviously I'm referencing pinball machines, right? You're playing the game, and sometimes you're pushing the game, trying to get that ball to go where you want it to go, and then the game says tilt, 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 right? Like you're cheating. You're you're making the game go chaotic. So tilt management, man, how you play your game and how you play your organization. You know, trolls, salty losses, rage quits, they're equal to, you know, the workplace equivalents of snaps in meetings, you know, passive aggressive emails to coworkers and stuff like that, right? Like, if you're that troll and you're like, you suck, man, you know, and you're going on and on, just insulting everybody, or, you know, that was a lucky win, man, you suck, that was a lucky win, you fluked up, you know, that's your salty losses, your sore loser. And the rage quits, this stupid game, you know, you throw the controller, it breaks your 55-inch screen TV or whatever. How are these translating into the workplace, right? You'll have that one person who just freaks out at the meeting, can't take any of the feedback, and they leave the meeting. And, you know, those passive aggressive emails. I try to avoid the passive aggressive emails, but man, when people are being thoughtless, inconsiderate, or they are purposely either trying to make you feel bad or trying to anger you, you know, you end up sending out that email that's probably a little too aggressive than you wanted, or worse yet, in replying, aka scolding this person, you decide to CC their boss on this email, right? Or their supervisor. And that's when you email me and you email my boss or my supervisor at the same time. I mean, that's dirty. That's dirty pool, man. You've tilted the game big time. And there's a time for it, but you need to try to fix it first. You don't just see a mistake, freak out, and then see someone's boss in the response, right? You see the mistake, you email them, you give them the feedback. Hey, this mistake happened in your work. Is there anything I can help you with to prevent this in the future? Let me know, right? Like, did you help first? Did you offer this help? Even if that other person's angry, that email where you're offering help could sound passive aggressive too, right? But I got your mistake. How can I help you? Because I'm better than you. So everything is dangerous depending on your mindset at the time you interact with it. So what are some skills to help you with this? Can you reset yourself faster? You get yourself in an emotional state at work or even on the game, playing the game. How do you reset yourself faster? A lot of times we get stuck in the moment and we are we just want to continue doing what we're doing even though we're in the same mindset, and whatever we think of in the moment isn't going to work. Oops, excuse me. So what do you need? You need micro breaks. Get up, go to the bathroom, get up, get some water, run out to the curb and pull the garbage bins in, and then get back to it or whatever. Take a quick walk around the office and say hi to a couple people. I don't mean linger and annoy people. I mean just quickly, hey Bill, how was your weekend? Fantastic. Talk to you later. Right? Like, keep it simple. We get into these excited moments, maybe because we don't understand what exactly we heard. So if you're about to freak out at a meeting, maybe asking that one clarifying question, instead of just reacting. Right? You're just like, I'm just getting mad. But what does that mean exactly for XYZ? Right? And they'll come back and it's clarified. Like, we don't all communicate in the same way, at the same level. So asking clarifying questions, follow-up questions, and giving feedback is important, whether you're in the game or if you're in the office. So, something I've talked about before, you might not have you might have a culture problem as opposed to a bad employee problem. When you're thinking about tilt management, and if the office keeps getting tilted and things are going off, that might not be just that one bad apple. There might now be a bad apple mixed in with the oranges or whatever, right? Like, it is a different situation. We think about the culture of our organizations, or even the mood of the game night or the time around the game. Maybe you turn game night into potluck. Maybe there's booze, maybe there's no booze, right? Maybe you make some house rules. Anytime you fail in the game, you have to tell a dirty joke or whatever, right? Like, how you create the culture of the moment is also going to show how the game goes and how the organization grows, right? Those were really quick topics. My AI assistant, I feel like I call my ChatGPT Byte. I feel like Byte let me down a little bit today on today's show notes. I'll have to train it some more, maybe. Games. Oh my god, I call myself a gamer, but types of games that people think they're gamers in, like Call of Duty, these online first-person shooter games, I don't really enjoy them that much. And because it is in the moment, quick thinking, fast hand-eye coordination, I prefer the slower paced games where I'm thinking strategy out. And it's a whole different ball game, man. But everyone's got skills that you can learn from playing games. Fun and games, yeah. So we I don't know what I was going to say. I lost it. What about mandatory fun in the office? I think mandatory fun at the office means not fun. I think everybody can kind of agree to that. Hey, here's something you can put in the comments. Tell me what's the best team game you've ever played? Those co-op games where you're designed, whether you have a team or you all work together to get something done. Tell me some of these games, because that might be something interesting to do. That's going to give us a better game environment where the purpose of the game is to help each other. Now, I've spoke in the last couple of weeks about bringing games into the lunchroom, at work, at the office, wherever. Obviously, try to keep games that have a play length of, 15 to 30 minutes, right? That's the type of game you'd be playing over lunch. And what game would you never bring to a work lunchroom? That now, let's avoid the long games. Any short games that's maybe, violent or gets people really rowdy. What game would you be kind of saying, no, we're not playing that at the lunchroom, right? What are you gonna do there? So last week I talked about Smash Up, and I think write in the comments what you're thinking. Smash Up has all kinds of themes, and you have to pick 2 decks and shuffle them together, and that's how you're playing. So you get these 2 themes. So it could be ninjas and fairies. It could be dinosaurs and cowboys, right? Like, you could really put some craziness into it. It could be zombies and werewolves, right? And these decks, they get put together, and they just have crazy effects with each other. So put in the comments what you think a workplace Smash Up game deck combo would be. I'm thinking you have to pick a department within the organization, management, HR, finance, sales, whatever department, janitorial, right? You have to pick one of those, whatever it is, whatever you can think of. Pick a standard office department name and throw in something crazy that's kind of related to Smash Up, if you kind of know. But there's just some crazy stuff. So I'm thinking, let's go with HR and ninjas. That's my deck for the game, right? Or you do janitorial and robots. I mean, like, come on now. Now that's a combination for a game. Put your combo in the chat. Let's chat it up about that a little bit. So I've talked about the Smash Up. We talked about Gloom, I think 2 weeks ago. And Gloom is just a dark game, right? You choose a family and you're trying to kill them. But the gameplay is interesting because you have the character and then you put these other cards on top of it, and they're all see-through except for the printed parts, and you're trying to give them negative gloom points. Essentially, you're making them sad, and then you're finally killing them off with a rest in peace card, and you're trying to get as many negative points as possible. So you're trying to give them a really bad life before they die so that you can win the game. It's really dark, but it's quite fun. And but I did mention Cashflow before, and I think Cashflow is a better game than Monopoly, especially for learning money. There might be less fights with your friends and family if you're playing Cashflow as opposed to Monopoly. Monopoly is really me against you. It is really luck based, right? You roll the die, and that's how many places you move. If you're the first person to hit it, you're the first person allowed to purchase it. So that's luck. I mean, that does not feel very real life market, because someone who's purchasing property, they're investigating the whole market. They're not just waiting for the next house they see when they go drive to work, right? It's not luck based or simple like that. It is a long search. You're looking for a certain type of property because you want to do something. Do you want to flip it? So you fix it and flip it? Do you want to keep it as a long-term rental? Do you want to rip it down and put up something else? I mean, like, you got a lot of different options on what you want to do with this property. And that does not say Monopoly to me at all. Monopoly actually had a different version, the original Monopoly. You flipped a board over. Damn, I always forget what the name of the board game is called. I think it's called Landlords or something like that. But it teaches a friendlier version of property investing. And the game was meant to be two-sided, so that you would play the Monopoly side and see just how terrible it is. Because the way the game is won, one person gets Monopoly and everyone else gets extremely upset, right? And that's the same thing with life. If we see a business corner an entire industry, there's nothing for the rest of us, right? So the rest of us get upset. Whereas the opposite side of the board game showed a friendlier way to play. I've never played it, can't remember the name of it. All I know is the facts that you were supposed to see this terrible way to do business, and then you were supposed to see this nice way of doing business, right? But I think who owns Monopoly? Parker Brothers? I think when the game got purchased by the big game places, they killed the one side because they thought more people got fun playing the game this cutthroat way. So that's where I started hearing about Cashflow. How to get out of the rat race. Cashflow, right? So it was created by Rich Dad, Poor Dad book writer Robert Kiyosaki. And when I first started learning about business and reading business books, it was really one of the first books I read. And there is a lot of merit in this. It is a way better teaching game than Monopoly, because it's all about getting out of the rat race, and you're really not playing against anyone else, and it's not a fight. You know, you're not the only one who gets out of the rat race and wins the game. No, everyone else could get out of the rat race too. The game does end when the first person gets out of the rat race and makes enough money, right? The idea is do enough small investments that you're making more money than your expenses, the cash flow, and then that's when you can jump out of the rat race and you become a big time investor because you're making good money, right? And then you gotta make a certain amount of money once you get out of the rat race. Like, I can't remember the rules. I think it's like double what you got out of, so whatever your net worth is, you gotta make double that in order to win the game. But it's really fast track, right? Once someone gets on the fast track, gets out of the rat race, which is just a circle. Once you get out on a fast track, it takes up the whole board. But really, it only takes a few investments and you've won the game at that point on the fast track. So what's it about? There's two versions of Cashflow. There's the first original, which is Cashflow 101, and it teaches you basic investing. But then there's the second version, Cashflow 202, I think. Anyway, it's like the advanced version, and it teaches you more about stock market investing. So there's a little bit more advanced stuff in it, and it is it's interesting. Now, the point of the game is to leverage your investments. You kind of got two ways to play it. One, the money you're making, you use to pay off all your debts. Or two, you forget about your debts. You just continue paying your regular monthly payments on your debts, but you use that new cash flow to purchase more investment. So you're never really paying off your debt, but you're turning the opportunity, the income into I think Robert Kiyosaki likes to call it healthy debt. Essentially, you're cash flowing off an asset that you used debt to purchase, right? So you purchased this investment. You had the down payment, and you got the rest of the money from the bank. So you bought a house, you had your down payment, bank gave you the rest. Now, you rent out that house, and after your mortgage payment, you're making X amount of dollars every month as your rental income. This now goes into your income. Now you save enough money, and you get a second house. But you don't pay off the mortgage on the house. If you pay off the mortgage on the house, yes, you make more monthly. But during that time that you were paying off the house, you could have purchased another house, right? Or two other houses or more, right? So it's interesting. It's kind of using debt as a tool. And, I think that's okay as long as that investment that you have is worth it. The investment must add cash flow to your monthly budget. That's the point. You could buy a bad investment and you lose money, or you're just waiting around and you never get your money back, right? So the game does teach you better, much better than Monopoly. It's a big board. It's a big board. Here it is. Flips around. Here's the board. Right? Pretty big. That's the rat race in the middle, and you just go around and around and around. And then once you make enough small investments, you get to go into the fast lane, which is the big ring around the big board, and that's where you make the really big investments. Let me see if I have a sample of one of the investments. Software company IPO, buy 250,000 shares at 10 cents a share. If you roll a 6 on a die, shares go up to $2 per share and get $50,000 or $500,000 from the bank. Roll less and you get zero, but you got to pay $25,000 to do it, right? 60-unit apartment building. You have to pay $300,000 down. This is your down payment. And after you pay your mortgage, you are making $8,000 per month. So it only, right, you can pay off your down payment quite quick with $8,000 a month. So these are really big deals. With the game, you have your deal cards. You have your small deals and you got your big deals. And small deal. Okay, here's a small deal. Sample of a small deal. House for sale. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Nice 3-2 house available in depressed market due to layoffs. Would make good investment property for the right buyer. Use this yourself or sell to another player. So it gives me that option. Well, I don't have the money for this right now. Does someone else want to buy it for $1,000? Whatever, right? 60% ROI, return on investment, right? May sell for $65,000 to $135,000. Right now, today, your cost is $50,000 to buy this house, and you only need to make a $4,000 down payment. So your mortgage is $46,000, and after you pay your regular monthly mortgage payment, you're earning an additional $200 a month. That's it. So you've cash flowed by purchasing this $46,000 house. You've cash flowed $200. Now, these numbers are a little out of date, or they've made them so that they're easier to play in the game. Really, this house is probably $460,000, and your down payment is probably $40,000. But but you see the picture. That's a small deal. And you have these other. Start a company part-time. You developed interesting idea for a software program, so you start a company to produce and sell it. No profits during startup, long hours, no extra pay. Use this yourself or sell to another player. 0 return on investment. May sell for ? If anything, right? So it's costing you $5,000 to start the company, and the down payment is $5,000. So this is $5,000 out of your pocket right now, but there's no liability and there's no cash flow. So later in the game, there may be something that says small company buyer. This may show up, but they're very few and far between. So it's a little bit harder to do anything like that. Oh no, dropped my card. Fell on the floor. Anyway, this starts getting you into these and the bigger deals. Now, there was a 60-unit deal on the board, but there's also apartment complex for sale, and this is a 60-unit also. So $200,000 down, and your cash flow is $11,000 per month, right? The cost is $1.2 million. Your mortgage is $1 million, but the monthly cash flow, $11,000 a month, is basically enough to get you out of the rat race if you get this card. If you have the 200,000 to purchase. Here's another. This is a big deal, but it's very low cash flowing. It's a duplex for sale. 7,000 down, but your cash flow is only 140, right? So there's some really crappy deals out there. There's 12 unit apartments, fourplex, house for sale that's actually going to give you a negative cash flow. But if you can find a house buyer, then you make a lump sum of money, right? So it's depending on the strategy you're playing. And it is way better than playing Monopoly, for sure. If you think you're learning anything from Monopoly, you're really not. All you're doing is just angering everybody in the household. Now, there is some luck in the game because the decks are shuffled. You are rolling dice. I mean, but every move kind of gives you a choice on those. You could say, I can do it or I don't have to do it, right? And that's where you could be helping somebody else. Oh, I don't want to do this deal. Hey, man, you give me $10, I'll give you this deal, and you can do this deal, right? Like, so there is an ability to cooperate. You have the market cards, and that's what I was talking about. Maybe there's a house buyer that comes in. Maybe there's a Plex buyer, car wash buyer if you had bought the car wash. You know, there's also interest rates drop or you lose money. There's a condo buyer, right? Apartment house buyer willing to offer $40,000 per unit. You had that $60,000 or that 60 unit one. You probably wouldn't sell that anyway. That's 11 grand a month. But apartment, 12 unit apartment at 40 grand a piece. Nice, right? So this market stuff comes up, and it's also random on what comes up. But to put just a little bit more spice and a little bit more realistic into the game, doodad cards. So as you're going around the rat race, you hit the doodads, and you don't have doodads in the fast lane. It's not there. It's only in the rat race. And if you hit the doodad, it means you buy a cafe latte and cappuccino for you and a friend. Spend $10, right? You buy new music CDs. You spend $100, right? You go to the casino and you lost $200 at the tables, right? Here's buying a cappuccino machine, $150. Buy a new bowling ball, $80, right? And this money starts coming out of your pocket, out of the money that you have to do your investing. Oh, here. Your child needs braces. Pay $2,000 if you have a child. So as you're going around the rat race, there's a spot that says, have a child, right? And then you suddenly add the child to your family, and it's part of your expenses. So that brings us to how you keep track. You have a scorecard, but you also have a persona at the start of the game. It's pretty messed up. Seems like there's stuff missing. Anyway, so when you first start the game, you have all these. These are your profession. This is who you are, right? And Everybody's given one. You have business manager, mechanic, engineer, secretary, lawyer, truck driver, nurse, police officer, airline pilot, doctor, MD, janitor. So, what's on these cards? This is your balance sheet. This is very similar to your real life budget balance sheet for your business, for your personal, right? You have all your income at the start of the game, and you have a playing card where you transfer all this stuff onto a playing card, and then you change it. Things change, right? You have all your income. The janitor makes $1,600 a month. It's the lowest paid person here. You have the doctor making $13,200 per month, right? But you have the janitor making a lowly $1,600 per month, and you show your income is here from different things: salary, interest, dividends, real estate, and business, right? And that all adds up to your total income. And you also, this other stuff also shows your passive income. So the goal of the game is to have more passive income than your expenses. And that's the $200 you're making from purchasing this property and stuff like that, right? But you also have your expenses, right? How much taxes you're paying every month, how much is your mortgage or rent, your current place, school loan, car payment, credit card payment, retail payment, other expenses, $300, right? And that all adds up. Then you make that decision. Monthly, your cash flow, you're making $650 a month. That's what you can save up to start investing with, right? And you have a list of all your assets on this side and your liabilities over here. So it shows your mortgage, your car loan, your credit loans, your retail debt, and your savings. You got $560 in savings, right? So, based on who you are, you have different levels of income, you have different expenses, you have different assets and liabilities, right? The janitor's mortgage is $20,000. The doctor's mortgage is $202,000. So you see, it's fun because this starts you off. Everybody's different. Nobody's the same. And then you start to see, well, how do I win the game, right? Like this is pretty fun. Kind of doing real life and teaching you how to do investing. And it does have that the twist in that you're looking to create cash flow, not necessarily pay off your consumer debts, but getting more cash flow so you don't build up that bad debt. But you're creating cash flow by creating good debt. And that's kind of what Robert Kiyosaki teaches. You got good debt and you got bad debt. And it's only good debt if it's creating cash flow for you. You might purchase something and go into debt to purchase it, but it's not creating any monthly money for you. So we think purchasing a vehicle is an asset. It's not. Unless you purchase that vehicle to operate to make you money. A taxi cab, big truck for long haul trucking or whatever, tow truck, so you can start your tow truck company business, right? Like these sorts of things, they could be called an asset, because by you having it, it's creating some sort of cash flow with you. So just remember that. I think the important thing in life is to get that cash flow going, so that we don't get strapped down with our current debts, or have the inability to create a savings. And that's, I think we all struggle with that at different levels. And the game teaches us that a medical doctor and a janitor have the same opportunities in life. It's just how they manage their personal debt, right? I have seen where the janitor wins the game. They get out of the rat race first, and then they get on the fast track and they win. They've beaten the doctor, the business manager, these other high-paying jobs, right? Because they knew how to invest properly and create the cash flow. How to win the game is in the title, cash flow. You need to create cash flow. So, yeah. Right now in the rat race, I've got that card that says start your personal business. And that's where I'm sitting. Right? I'm a consultant. I'm running my own business. I'm trying to pick up contracts here and there for other things. And I'm just trying to build this business. But I haven't invested in a proper way that creates cash flow for me. And those are things that moving forward, I'm trying to figure out. Businesses I would like to start. Well, let's say this. Let's talk about this. Put in the comments what business you want to start. Now, I am looking for things that are mostly passive. Now, there is no truly 100% passive business out there, right? Aside from me doing this, trying to build my own business, things I would like to do. I have an interest in vending machines. And you kind of got to have two things with vending. An amazing location. So you're talking foot traffic. Hundreds of people a day pass by your machine. So you got to think about these locations where there's a lot of people and they have money, right? I think the big ones are schools, especially high schools, factories, or places where there's a lot of shift workers. So you got 3 shifts going in and out, and the owners might really be happy that you set up a vending machine there so that their employees don't be late on their lunch break or don't leave the grounds during their regular breaks, right? Because people end up being late and just all these things. So you had a really great vending machine that gave some really good snacks and quick lunch type foods, right? And there's, I don't know, 50 to 100 people per shift. So you're getting 150 to 300 people a day going by that vending machine. It's in the lunchroom. It's in the staff lunchroom. And you have this multiple shifts, day and night. I mean, that's a gold mine location, right? So you're looking for those locations that are gold mines. And it's really hard to just say, oh, I'm just going to put it in a mall. Or, I mean, malls are big contracts. I think you got to go through a lot of negotiating with that. I think a big office building with lots of shopping on the ground floor might be a good location, because not only do you have the staff members coming in and out of the building, might be a few hundred, there might be a few thousand, depending on how big the building is. They're going in and out, plus they're looking for their lunches. Maybe the vending machine is a quick option, especially if you have a good vending machine in there. But you might also have the foot traffic of people just during the day walking by, going to the shops or whatever, right? You really got to think about these locations. We start thinking, oh, let's put it at a mechanic shop or laundromat or something like that. There's really not a lot of traffic in those locations for those sorts of things. So really just think about lots of people, lots of shifts, just large amounts of foot traffic, large, right? Whatever you can think of, just people being around your machines. And you got to make sure, the location is visible. If you get into this great, nice building, couple thousand workers, but the management company says, but we don't want it in the lobby by the front door, and we don't want it at the back door where all the deliveries come through. There's this little side hallway that goes to the management office. There's a spot there for a vending machine. Nobody's going to see that. Nobody's walking by that. That is not going to be a good location. It is not. It has to be visible out there, right? These businesses, some buildings, they just don't want an ugly vending machine out in the middle of nowhere. But if you got great vending machines, that's number two, right? Number one is a great location. The number two, is the vending machines. You need brand new machines. People can pay with credit cards. You need to start moving towards AI-enabled vending machines. So it's a glass door, just like a glass door freezer. Like when you go into a convenience store and you open up the pop cooler, it's a glass door. But you can't open the door until you swipe your card. You swipe your card, it says thank you, it unlocks, and you open it up. You grab your pop, you grab your snack pack, you grab your Pop-Tarts, you grab your pizza pops, and you grab an orange or an apple or a banana or something, right? And you've grabbed all this. Instead of putting in, I want B3, and the one thing comes out and it takes, now I got to run a second transaction to get C4, right? It slows the transaction and it takes away the ability for the spontaneity. You have a smart AI machine, you swipe to get in, the machine knows what's in there and the price of everything because you've programmed it all in. And what is with this music? This is really bizarre. Let's shuffle that out. That was weird. Anyway, so you create it so it's easier for people to purchase. So instead of buying $5 or $6 worth of stuff, they now have the ability to see everything that you're selling in that cooler, and they grab it all. When they close the cooler, their credit card gets charged because the cooler has sensors and cameras, and it knows what's where and how much is each of those things. Very, very cool. And imagine the factory location, 3 shifts, 50 to 100 people, and they're in a industrial area. There's no restaurant nearby. No restaurant nearby where they can just quickly run and grab some lunch or grab a snack. basically out in a food desert. And you can put a vending machine there and save the day. Make the factory owner happy, right? So that's the two things: a good location and a good brand new vending machine. Don't go buy that $600 used vending machine. That's a waste of your time and waste of your money. You're going to purchase that machine. It's going to break down on the first day. Your items are going to spoil or whatever. You're going to end up paying for someone to repair it anyway. Get that new machine. Get the warranty, man. And the smart machines, they really make it easy for you to increase your average sale price. Yeah. So I'd like to get into vending business. I just haven't taken the time to find a location, because I have enough resources that I could purchase a brand new vending machine. The problem is these brand new vending machines, the smart AI ones, you're looking at $3,000 to $10,000, probably somewhere around $6,000 for this brand new machine. So there is a cost to entry, but make sure you find a good location, right? People say sometimes a gym is a good location. Well, you get a couple hundred people in there all day long, right? You don't get a couple hundred people in there every hour, right? And so pick that good location, or there's an actual need for it. A lot of times gym will have their own booster juice or something in the location, right? So they're already serving drinks and snacks and things like that. So might not be a good location. Anyway, so that's a business I'd like to start. I think that would be interesting. I keep going yes or no, because at the same time, I don't want to go shopping. But I know going to the big box stores are going to be, it's a different experience. I used to go shopping for the family business, and it was definitely a different experience than going into a regular grocery store, right? So the next business, strangely enough, I would love to purchase, or not purchase, a laundromat. Again, the family business growing up, when I was a teenager, my dad owned a laundromat. I hated it. As an adult, I also worked it with my sister, and I hated it. I felt sad, depressed, dead inside. I was not enjoying my life. But in hindsight, I have learned a lot more about coin laundry business that I didn't know back then. And our laundromat was in a small town, so there's fewer possible customers to come into the store. So it was hard to get creative and things like that. So, I mean, I think in hindsight, with what I know, I think we could have turned that business around and made it something better. But I just didn't have those skills. But now I have those skills, because I actually purchased a course on how to get a laundromat, basically for zero down, and how to run it properly. Because the idea is, I'm not gonna purchase a laundromat so that I have to be an attendant in the laundromat all day long. I'm not trying to create a job for myself. And laundromats, they make good money, But if you have high rent and high equipment costs and labor costs, then it becomes a failing business, essentially. So, but now I know some tricks how to change that, how to do it correctly, to reduce at least two of those costs, right? Any laundromat I get into now, I'm reducing two of those costs. So 1/3 of my costs are gone, essentially. Well, the troublesome ones. Of course, you're paying for gas and power and water, right? The laundromat business is converting gas, power, and water into money. That's what a laundromat does. Because you put in those resources, and what comes out is quarters, loonies, and dollar bills from the cash machine, right? So, I understand the business, and as long as you do it right, a laundromat can be not a passive business, but it's certainly not a business where you have to be there every day. Maybe you're just coming and unlocking the door and locking it. Could be that simple. Maybe you're just showing up once a week to collect the money, right? Because there's techniques, and the stuff I learned really blew my mind. So I think it would work better in larger centers or areas where there's slightly bigger population, like, I don't know, 20,000 plus people nearby, right? I think that's probably the minimum. And you got to have a large enough location. If you have, 500 square feet, you got 5 washers and 5 dryers, that's not a good location. That's just not going to make enough money for you. You're thinking 1,500 square feet or more in a good town. So you need a good size. You need to have at least 25 washers and almost twice as many dryers, because there's always that hold up. So you have 25 washers and you get the 50-pound up downs, so it's taking up the same space, but it gives you 50 dryers, right? And that allows you to lessen that bottleneck. And you also need room for folding. Washing, drying, folding. These are the 3 things that your clients are doing in your laundromat. Washing, drying, and folding. So you need the right type of machines. Big. 25 of them at least. You need dryers. 50 pounders up down, probably great. You don't need to get 40 pounders. I think those are the ones, the up downs. You don't need to get the big giant ones that are singles. It's better if you got 2 in that location. Then you need room for folding. So you need tabletops. But you need to set it up so that it isn't just one big table, because one customer is going to go in there and just spread out over the whole place. You kind of create these tabletop desks area. They're like 3 feet long, and they have like a little divider wall. Think of the study desks in libraries, right? Except twice as wide. So instead of having just this little tiny alcove where you're in there doing your work and studying, you have twice that space with those barriers, because then people can lean their clothes up against each other. They're not touching other people's clothing, and you have a less possibility of taking over the whole area for your folding, right? People understand that this is your space and that's my space, right? So, but anyway, the tips and tricks I now know about laundromats, I think would be great. And if you do it just right, your costs for getting a laundromat could be zero. It really could be zero. But you gotta know the tricks, man. And I know the tricks. Oh, someone's at the front door. Oh, it's the mail. The mail delivery person just dropped off our mail. So, so those are two businesses I want to start. I'm intrigued about the vending machines because I may have to speak to the clients and the places where I'm putting the machines, and I do have to go shopping for my stuff. Maybe even have to keep some extras in a room in my house or in my garage or something like that. But it's a little bit passive. I'm doing a few hours of work per week, doing the shopping, loading the machines, taking the money, right? With the laundromat, once it's up and running, I'm dealing with issues. There's a machine that's broken. I'm collecting money. There isn't much else. I'm paying the bills, whatever. But me, I don't have to be there. The way you set it up makes a difference. And it becomes, instead of, a full-time job, it is really an extremely part-time job. Again, a few hours a week. And, I keep toying with the idea of starting a convenience store, but I just don't like people enough. I have worked retail. Like I said, I used to work as the attendant at our family business, so I am okay dealing with people, but I don't enjoy it. It's not what I want. So I'm looking at businesses that are different. Now, I'm toying with the idea of starting a convenience store, but all that's in there is smart vending machines, right? And I mean, again, I probably spend one day a week in there just filling the vending machines, going shopping for the vending machines, but I wouldn't be there. I wouldn't be trapped there all day, every day, making transactions. Now, I know people are going to say, but you got to be there. You got to monitor. Well, that's what security cameras are for. And I mean, you give free Wi-Fi and there might be people sitting there doing their work, like a realtor doing their work because they're using your free Wi-Fi. They're your security, right? If there's other customers hanging around, there's less chance of someone going in and robbing you blind. But if you're thinking about smart machines, they can't even get into the machine without swiping a credit card first. So, I mean, whatever. What else am I thinking of? I mean, those are kind of like the small businesses. Oh, just a plain old car wash. I would love a car wash. This is an interesting business because I know we had a car wash with our laundromat as the family business, but a standalone car wash would be interesting because again, I could set it up in a way that it was automated, right? Very little need for staff. You have a staff member who comes in each day and cleans the bays, right? And that's about it. It's like an hour, 2 hours of work. Maybe they walk around the yard and pick up garbage, stuff like that. Again, I would be the one picking up the money. My employee wouldn't. In all these scenarios, only I'm collecting the money. Any other functions, I've got an employee or a contractor or something doing the work, not me. The only problem here in Alberta is it gets cold, so it has to be a building. It has to be able to get enclosed, right? It can't be like I see these guys in Southern California doing car washes, but they're wide open. They're open bays at both ends, and I mean that's easier. But once you get to winter, it's a little bit trickier. So next one, storage units, some sort of storage business. I like the idea of like RV or boat storage. So you basically just have an empty lot with a chain link fence and voila, storage. But you might need an attendant there, right? Or there's systems you can set up that the client can swipe a card to get into the compound with the automatic gate or whatever, and they can go grab their stuff. But it can be high cost to build actual storage units, but it's a one-time cost. So if you want to make 20 storage units and you're renting each one out, it's a one-time cost to build these strong structures, and then you just use that structure for the next 30 years, right? Like it's not an ongoing cost to it. So that's kind of why we can put these businesses kind of into this category. These are the things. It's more expensive to do that. You got to buy the land, you got to build the building. But say I got 20 vending machines and I've got a laundromat or two, and what's the other thing? Maybe I got a car wash or two, all in the city, all in Edmonton, and then I would have enough cash flow where I could purchase a piece of land just outside of the city and turn that into a storage, so that people can park their RVs there during the winter, park their boats there during the winter, and there would also be actual storage units on location too, right? And you're cash flowing enough that you can actually pay for that piece of property and pay for the land, or pay for the building construction. So it's kind of stepped, and I've kind of left rental properties a little bit. I think the idea of trying to be the landlord with all these other ideas, it's a business, and I'm cash flowing money. It's a business. Whereas investing in rental properties, it feels different. It's a one-time payment I get per month, and then I got to deal with all these rental issues. But there are ways to be a good landlord and tricks to try to keep your property in shape and things like that, right? So yeah, but it's a bigger purchase, right? I'm paying upwards to $500,000 for a rental property, and I'm renting it out for a couple $1,000s a month, and I'm cash flowing couple $100, right? That's a lot of money to be tied up in something. I would have to already have a lot of money saved up so that my mortgage isn't that as much, so that I could use the equity in that building to purchase the next one, right? You kind of leverage your debt and your equity as you go. But if you have a cash flowing business, if I'm making $2,000-$3,000 a month clear from my vending machines, and $5,000 to $10,000 a month per laundromat and car wash clear, and then I'm able to save up and purchase that land for the storage unit, and then I'll be making lots of money there, right? Then the money just kind of all adds up. I may not even need to go into property investment, right? Like rentals like that. I might skip and say, I'm buying that commercial building. It's got a restaurant in it. It's got some retail tenants, and on the second floor it has 3 or 4 office rentals. That might be more interesting to me than residential rental properties. Might be thinking the commercial properties might be more interesting to me. Anyway, my God, fun and games Friday, that sucked. Sorry, that was a boring topic for everybody. If you have staff drama and it's wrecking your week, grab my $7 ebook in the link that I'm going to pop up here. It's a quick start for small business owners who need fewer headaches right now. You could stop your staff drama in up to 5 days. No, as little as 5 days. Or at least you may understand what your staff drama is once you try these tips and tricks. And that's in my ebook. The link is at my link tree. The link is here on the screen. And through my whole episode, every episode, it was always up. The QR code in the top corner of the screen. So go check that out if you need a little bit of HR support for your small business. And there's other things there. If you need to get a hold of me, you need to make a meeting, that's there too. So anyway, hope everyone had a great week. I'm going to end the stream.